And we're live. This is so exciting. Yay. Welcome to the latest episode of Friday Flicks. This is our second episode, and I had such a good response to last week's episode, which was the first one that we ever did. And it was a great experience. And just thank you so much for supporting this show. I am really excited about it. I think it has a ton of potential. And this week ended up being a surprisingly good week for movies. I was skeptical when I looked at this list, but in my opinion, it was a very solid group of releases. And I'm excited to talk to you all about it. And I'm not alone to do this. My friend Terry is here. And Terry, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And hello.
Yeah. So I know that you were a little skeptical as well. Would you agree?
I
About
was,
these movies.
I was like, okay.
Well, I mean, I thought of you not only because you're very interesting to talk to, and we've done tons of episodes of Hallmarkies podcast together, but I also thought of you because we have a romance this week,
Yep.
and I thought that it would be fun to hear your perspective on it. But this is your first Colleen Hoover adaptation. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I've never read any of her novels. I know of them, but I just have never gotten around to it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I ever will, to be honest. But I'm kind of glad that we're in the era of doing her movies, because we used to do that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
remember the Nicholas Sparks and
Yeah.
on television they did countless Daniel Steele, Nora Roberts, and Sidney Sheldon back in the day. So I like this. I hope that we find other authors to do this more of.
Yeah, I mean, I think just romance in general, the more we make, even if I don't maybe like a particular film, I'm still happy, like with Wuthering Heights, for instance, I'm still happy that it was successful because I want romance to be successful and them to greenlight more films.
And Wuthering Heights is so successful, we're getting a new Jane Eyre.
True. Yes.
Okay. A little worried, but like hopeful.
Yeah. I don't really understand. I mean, I love Jane Eyre, so I understand why people want to make movies of it, but I just don't understand why certain stories are seen as being so cinematic, and then other stories just we've gotten maybe one version or two.
It's true.
Jane Eyre, we've gotten like who knows how many.
It's been 15 years since the last adaptation, though. Which
that's true.
I almost fell over. I didn't realize it was that long.
Wow.
It sounds about right. It's like 10 to 15 years when they start. That's why we're seeing all these Jane Austen like remakes, because it goes to TV, then it goes to film.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's been over 20 years since the 2005 Pride and Prejudice, but it doesn't seem that long. That makes me feel old.
It doesn't. Oh no.
Well, I have read 2 of Colleen Hoover's books. I wasn't a big fan of either of them. It Ends With Us and Verity. But I also wasn't a big fan of either of the the other movies that had been released. So I was going in very skeptical, but we'll talk about that in a second. I do want to say that I have the chat room open, and I have you can do a super chat if you have a particular question that you want it to answer. If it doesn't especially involve these new releases, then I might save it and do a actual separate video response. But please put those in. Would really appreciate it very much. So we already got some comments, but I think I will save them until we start talking about the movies. So this episode is sponsored by Fat Cat Cinemas in Bluffdale, Clinton, and Saratoga Springs. It's the perfect place to see the latest flicks, play in their large arcade, or take the family bowling. Not only do they have some of the most comfortable seats in movie theaters with massive screens, but you can have their large menu from the grill delivered straight to your seat. It's a really, really great cinema. And you, like I said, they even have a ticket where you can get a ticket. They have a discount where you can get the ticket and a whole round of playing in the arcade. So if you want to do both, you can do both. It's a great place. I highly recommend checking out Fat Cat Cinemas. And we're going to start out actually talking about our scary movie. We're going to talk about Undertone. And this is it really felt like a movie that was made during the pandemic, because it's all set in like one
Yes.
house. There's really only one actor. You have a that actually has vocal lines in the movie that we see. Then there's other voices that you hear. There's her mother is there, but she doesn't have any lines. So it's really a one woman show.
Yeah.
And it's Evie is a paranormal podcaster who, along with her host, who's in London, find a series of messages from a couple who was haunted by a demon. As they play the messages, skeptical Evie becomes more convinced of the spirit's power. So this was directed and written by Ian Tuason. It stars Nina Kiri, and Adam DeMarco is her co-host that we just hear his voice. So going into this, obviously as a podcaster, I'm, a little bit anxious about how they're gonna,
Yeah.
and everything involving the podcast is completely absurd. Like nobody would listen to this thing, and it's like
It took a week to record too.
Yeah,
Like
it
one
was. It would
episode.
be so boring. Like nothing actually, when you really think about it, as far as the listeners, nothing happens to
Right.
in this podcast, and so you kind of have to suspend your disbelief about the podcast side of it. But if you can do that and kind of give yourself over to the movie, I thought it was very riveting, very intense, very exciting. And I would be very pleased if A24 did some kind of campaign with this movie. It's unlikely because it's so early, but still, I think it's worthy of a campaign next year for best sound. Because I can't think of that many movies where the sound is actually a character in the film. It's kind of like zone of interest in that way. Like this,
very important. The plot.
The sound was very important in that film, and I think here it does so much heavy lifting of building the tension and building the scares. And I don't know, I thought it was very well done for what it was trying to do. I was definitely engrossed, and I don't know, what did you think of Undertone?
My first thought is this is a very cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Yes. She had
avoid podcasting at all costs.
First of all, when I saw that time on that clock, I was like, girl. And there was one point in the theater. There wasn't that many people when I saw this. Yeah, I saw this on a Thursday yesterday.
Yeah.
So, there wasn't I'm sure there's going to be more people like on today, Friday and stuff. So I yelled at one point, girl, get to praying. Because I thought you have so many opportunities to turn this around. And I told my sister, I was like, this is a very cautionary tale. But
you texted me, you're like, she really needs some rosaries.
Oh,
like,
first of all, she had
holy
all
water.
the stuff in her. She had all the stuff in her house. She needed them rosary beads, them holy water, that crucifix, and she had a couple of evil eyes. She could have bought some evil eyes to put around, but yeah, she could have protected herself, but no. But I thought it was well done. And with the way they framed this movie, with the cinematographer and the way they photographed it, when you see her in the corner and there's just like the stairs or the hallway, I kept looking. I was like, what's going to pop up? What's happening? The lights are flickering. Like your eye is always moving around to like, there's something there. You feel that presence. Yeah. So I thought that was a pretty good... I thought, with the limitations this movie had, I'm not sure what the budget is, but like they really went out and made it as creepy as possible, know, and I thought it was interesting. I mean, I wasn't that over the moon of the ending. I thought there could have been a bit more with the end, but I was entertained. I was like, I kept waiting for something. I was like, all right, when's it gonna, so the anticipation level for me was high because I was like, all right. And all the stuff with her mom was just like devastating too, because she, this poor lady is taking forever to die. That's what I thought. I was like, oh no, she's suffering, and it's just like,
or is she actually dead?
That is true.
No spoilers, but
there's no spoilers. But this whole thing
that's part of the mystery of it.
Yeah, because I'm not sure how much time spent. Because she's like, because they broke up the podcast in days, and I'm like, how are they getting this out on a Friday?
Well,
didn't it take like over a week to like,
Well, and at one point she even says, "I killed my mom." So what happened?
Yeah, I understood with that too, and like she's begging her mom to pray for her. But I do think there is a battle going on with the mom spiritually. where she is trying to protect her daughter.
Well, and yeah, because the mom talks about in a flashback about how I prayed for you. I'm praying for you.
Right, because there's a lot of Christian imagery, like
Uh-huh.
the mom was very religious, and
Yeah.
you see statues and all that, what you'd expect from someone who's religious,
Yeah.
around the house. So like, and I'm so funny. I was like, get to
Yeah.
praying, but yeah, it was so much better than I thought it was going to be. And I
Yeah.
went
Right.
in
Then me
kind of,
too.
I went in blind. I saw a little bit of the trailer, so I didn't know what I was going to expect, and I was entertained.
So the budget on this, it was $500,000, and so that's pretty impressive.
That's pretty
what they did
impressive.
for
Yeah.
for $500,000. And the two movies that I thought of when I was watching is I thought of The Babadook. I don't know if you've seen The Babadook, but it's very good. And that it involves a woman and her child in a lot of guilt and feelings, and
Yeah.
so that element. But then also I thought of The Ring.
Yes, I did too.
Yeah,
I did too. That popped up in my mind when I was watching
so
it.
if you like The Ring, if you like The Babadook, if you like movies like that, then you should definitely give this a shot. I mean, and if you really don't like scary movies that are like bloody or things like that, then like this is a pretty good choice for that.
Yeah,
Like it's not,
because it's so much relying on what she's hearing when she puts her headphones on,
sound.
and then it's like, I love that when like the sound of the ticking clock and how that was really good. You're right about the sound on this. That's very important.
Yeah.
But the big question is, Rachel, would you listen to all that stuff?
No, absolutely not. That's why I'm saying you have to suspend your disbelief about the podcast. The podcast is ludicrous. Like nobody would ever listen to this.
Like,
I mean, and I guess in fairness, like a lot of people put out podcasts that no one listens to, but still,
well, I mean, like the email. Like, let's say you're doing a paranormal.
Oh, when
I thought that was very okay. She's the skeptic. He's more the believer in this podcast. I was like, that's great. But like, if you got an anonymous email, like open these attachments, I would be like, no.
Spam. Yeah, that's true. I would never.
I'm not going to. I'm not even going to attempt it, even if it's a hoax, because I'm very superstitious.
But on the other hand, when you're podcasting, sometimes you're just sort of desperate for content, something to cover. And so I could see maybe being like, well, we got to talk about something. Let's talk about this. And it kind of being approached on that level. Yeah. But the idea that anyone would listen to the show is absurd.
Not.
But still, I think this really worked well. And I would be very curious, this Ian Tuason, what else he'll come up with. Like, I mean, I hope it does. I hope it does okay. And I
think it might do.
I think this is his debut. I think. Looks like he has shorts and stuff. Maybe, I'm not sure. But anyway, I think it was a very strong debut. It was a very strong film from him, and I'd be curious to see what he can do with a bigger budget down the road.
Did you get a sort of early James Wan feel to the look
of
the movie?
I can see that.
I was like, this is like kind of his earlier like horror work. It kind of gave me that vibe of the look and the way that it was filmed and stuff.
Like Insidious and things like that. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. It was very good.
It was.
I definitely think it's worth your time if you like a tense horror that's not bloody at all.
No, and I hadn't heard about this movie. Like, there's not a lot of promotion, but horror tends to do good.
Yeah, so I heard about it at Sundance. One of my critic friends, Tracy, he didn't like it at all, but most people liked it. So it's here in both.
I think it might do well. Horror tends to do pretty decent.
I do think it feels longer than the 94 minutes. To me,
you know what? Yeah, because I couldn't. When I went, I was like, "Oh, this is short." I said, "This is short and sweet," And then it did feel, but I was I was just so into it. I was like, "What's going to happen?" And it's
So, what would you give it out of 5?
A 3.5.
Yeah, I think that's around 3.5 or 4 is what
I don't know if people. Like, because it's a one-woman show. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
And I think she's very good at it. And I don't know if people will be like, I wish there was more to it. I wish we could see the man, like her podcast partner's side to it. Which I don't think was necessary because it was really focusing on her. Yeah. But Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, I
It's
think
better
that's
than
a
I
good
thought. It's
score.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah. It was very good. All right, let's talk about Reminders of Him. This is our latest Colleen Hoover adaptation. The film focuses on Kenna, who, after being released from prison, tries to rebuild her life. This includes trying to meet and connect with her daughter and her daughter's family, including the hunky Ledger. So this I went into it admittedly with low expectations. They'd reached out to me. They wanted me to interview the director. And I told them, I was like, oh, I don't know. I haven't liked either of the two, so you'll have to wait and see what I think. um, and so I watched it, and I have told many a person that I don't think this is a good fit for me. So it's not because I was interviewing her that I liked the movie. It was the only reason I was interviewing her was because I liked the movie, and I was very impressed. Again, it might have been helped a little bit by low expectations because, again, I just haven't been a fan of those previous two films. But I thought that the characters, yes, it's melodramatic, yes, it's cheesy, but I felt like the characters were actually pretty solid. I is particularly Kenna, I think was a well written character that I was rooting for, that I felt for. You know, you want to see her be able to rebuild her life. And I thought that Micah Monroe did a very good job playing Kenna. I thought she's not an actress that I've seen a ton, but I thought she was very good in this role and had her and Tyreek Withers, who played Ledger, had good chemistry. He was, I think, endearing and hunky and
Yeah.
everything you could want in this kind of role. And then the supporting performances were all really solid. It definitely helped elevate it. Lauren Graham, I think, doing some nice work as the grandmother of her child, the care, taking care of her, of the little girl. Bradley Whitford, he was good. Like I think it must
Yeah, it
have
was a
been
good
kind of
cast. Yeah.
must have been funny to him, like to get the this I get to slug this guy in the face. Like I doubt Bradley Whitford's offered that role that often these days,
No.
getting to slug someone in the face. But but I've seen it twice. I enjoyed it both times. I thought for if you want a kind of a melodramatic, weepy, emotional type romance, then you'll like this. I mean, I definitely think if you liked the previous two films, then you definitely will like this. But this was your first dive into the world of
Yep.
Colleen Hoover. How
Yeah.
do you feel? How
Well,
do you
I
feel
was
about
like, wow, this is so melodramatic, But as
Yeah.
somebody who watches a lot of novellas from around
Uh-huh.
the world, I mean, this was,
Yeah.
my cake, like you clearly though, if I had not known it was based on a book, I would have been like, this is based on a book. It
Yeah.
clearly reads like
Yeah.
this was a novel.
Uh-huh.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it because it was nice because no one is really a villain. You
Yeah.
can
Everybody, their
understand.
motivation, you can understand where
Yeah,
they're
you
coming
can
from.
totally understand
Yeah.
everybody's feelings and motivations, and it's a redemption arc as well
Hmm.
with, for a lot of the characters. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like and even, the side character, like, it was a good cast, and they had I can't remember the lady's name, but she's in Schitt's Creek, the owner of the Paradise Inn.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah, so it was
forget her
nice. I
name
was like,
too.
okay, I almost, there's a lot of people you recognize. So it was a solid cast, and I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, I could see this appealing to a lot of people. It appealed to me, but I thought it was well put together, and I was
Jennifer
invested.
Robertson is her name. Jennifer
Yeah,
Robertson.
that's her,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah. It was a really solid
it was a solid
supporting
cast, and
cast.
and I just loved it how everyone is flawed, and it
Yeah.
just felt like, yeah, this is like a slice of life. Like sometimes to be on the main character side, they make the opposing view mustache twirling, right? But not here. You understood
Yeah.
everybody's like pain and
And I would say that about the two previous Colleen Hoover is that there's just so much toxicity going
yeah.
around.
Mhm.
And especially it ends with us, the whole idea of like men are pigs, her father's terrible, her husband is terrible and abusive, both of them. Like the high school boyfriend is like better, but still the whole message of that movie
I
is
know. And it was
we are going to transition away from these horrible men. Whereas,
Yeah.
like, in this case, I just felt like all of the characters had, like you're saying, believable motivation. They were understandable for what they were doing, and it wasn't just some kind of weak attempt at girl power.
No.
Um, and do you agree what I said about Kenna, that she was
Yeah,
a character easy to root for?
she was like, she was, yeah, like from the get-go, you're like, I feel for this girl. She's living with the repercussions of like one of the most horrible moments in her life,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
actions that were taken after that, which you get to understand, through the movie when she tells the story. But it's like, this is a horrible moment, and she's trying to make right by it.
yeah, yeah.
And like that, that can connect to a lot of people, whether it's that serious or not. But
Mhm.
yeah, and she was great. I thought she was great. I mean,
Yeah.
her wardrobe was terrible in the movie, and I was
Yeah.
like, I was like,
I
this is
mean,
a
I think
pretty
it was
girl.
supposed to be kind of a little bit white trash, kind
I
of
think so,
a
and
little
I was
bit
trying to figure out
for her
what year
character.
this movie was in. I was like, this is current or not current, because they never
That's
really
true. It is
specify.
kind of,
So it
ambivalent
feels
as
like,
far as
yeah,
it's
yeah,
current, but it's not specific about, like,
yeah. It might
is
age
this
well in that way because it's not
Yeah, that's
super
true.
set. But
I can
like,
see
man,
that.
she had incredibly long legs, Rachel. And
She
like, I noticed
does.
that because she was wearing those shorts, and I was like, wow, her legs are super long. And I was like, but
She
yeah,
is a
she was
very
great.
attractive actress, no
Yeah,
question,
she was great.
and Tyreek, very, very hunky,
Yeah. Oh, those eyes
very
though,
good.
like, yeah.
And I did interview Vanessa Caswell, the director, over on Hallmarkie's podcast. And what was very cool that they did is that they had us, anyone who's interested could do an interview. I don't know if other people did Vanessa. I did Vanessa, and I was with her for about 8 minutes. And then they sent over a folder full of interviews from everybody else in the cast and crew. And this is such a brilliant idea. I told Hallmark, I was like, you should think about this, because this was like, it just makes sense, because
Yeah.
then I was able to post on my content. I had clips from Lauren Graham. I had clips from Bradley Whitford. I had clips from both of the leads. I wouldn't have been able to get those, plus producers, writers. It was just so nice.
Yeah.
And so I only had to coordinate one interview, and yet I got all of this content to produce and to put out there. And they only had to coordinate one interview, So just like,
Yeah.
what a smart little
It is.
piece of PR. Like, that's how you do it. And because, I mean, how nice would that be for, let's say, for When Calls the Heart? If Hallmark did this, where I only had to interview Aaron or somebody, one person.
Right.
And then they gave these interview snippets of everybody else, writers, directors, everybody involved. That would be amazing. And they gave so much that nobody is going to have a duplicate program that they're going to offer. And it's not going to be duplicate, because I still had an original interview in there, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, that was brilliant. Thank you to the Reminders of Him our people, and everybody should do that. Like, I just thought, so smart. But anyway, you should definitely check out that interview over at Hallmark's podcast. And we did get some comments about this topic. We have Jeremiah says, I don't read Colleen Hoover books. I'm not a fan of her based on what YouTubers say about her work, which is why I was so surprised watching the Reminders of Him trailer. It was touching, and for once didn't seem toxic at all. Normally trailers for Hoover adaptations make me roll my eyes. This was an emotional and empathetic trailer. And then continues on, I know there's the whole debate of fiction meant to have role models, or can it be just fun? However, for myself, I've just never been at all interested in a Hoover adaptation before this. So you'll definitely have to let us know, Jeremiah, if you see it. I think it'll be interesting to see, what everybody thinks about this one. But
It's true, because
I liked it.
Yeah, you even hear from our diehard fans about some of her writing. Like, I've heard, like, oh yeah, it's great, I love her books, but it could have been better.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you hear that, but I do wonder now I'm very curious how faithful an adaptation this was.
Well, I mean, Vanessa, I asked her about that, and she's like,
Mhm.
no, it was my Bible, and she like showed it, and she's got it
That's good.
highlighted and marked, and I mean, she was really trying. So I haven't read the book, so I can't say.
Yeah,
But and Colleen Hoover was very involved in the
sure.
adaptation process, so I think it's pretty accurate. But
Yeah.
again, I haven't read
That's
it,
another
so
thing too. It's like when you have so many books and they might choose the certain
yeah.
books that people feel weren't the best to adapt. That happens all the time.
There's
When
another film based on her books coming out.
yeah.
It's called Verity, later this year. That one I'm extremely skeptical
I
because I
have
have
heard
read
things
that book
about
and it is not good. So
I have heard about that book, like, "No, don't touch it, don't
yeah,
bother."
yeah,
And I was like, "Well, I don't know," but,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, she's had
So
definitely having her moment,
so
Colleen
cool.
Hoover,
You got
so
to interview the director. Congratulations. Yeah, it was super fun. She's I think she did elevate this material. You could feel a strong director here. And I
yes,
think
I want to see more from her, like,
yeah,
I'm
I
actually
agree.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was like
So
because, what I have seen that she's directed is the Little Women adaptation that starred,
oh, yeah, the
the
BBC one.
miniseries, yeah, with Maya
Mhm,
Hawke in it.
mhm,
I mean,
mhm,
that one was
and
a kind of
Angela Lansbury.
yeah, that was a kind of depressing,
Yeah.
version of it, but
I had my issues with that adaptation,
but I did enjoy it, even though it was kind
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
depressing, but, I kinda wanna see her more. I thought
I
she
do
did such
too.
a good job,
Mhm.
and I will say this because I saw this in the middle of the afternoon, so it wasn't that many people, but there were a men in there. There were, like, more men than women to see the
Yeah,
story, so
I don't think that this is
I
too,
think
like,
that this
girly or feminine of a film.
I think this coulda and, they were all around my age, and I was like, "Wow," like, so that's like,
Yeah, because I mean,
middle-aged people,
I
but
think the Ledger is an endearing,
yeah.
likable character. Like I said, Bradley Whitford gets to punch
I think
into
this
the
is kinda
face.
yeah, I think this is kind of a story that will appeal to,
Yeah,
I mean, that's like a myth that men don't enjoy these type of movies and stuff because they do,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
but, I it was nice to see, and I was like, "Yeah, people are going out," and there was another couple going there together, and
Yeah.
to see it together, and I was like, "Yeah, so this is going to speak." I think this might do pretty good.
I hope so. I
Um,
really do. I
I
hope it
don't know
does
how well
well.
the other Colleen, the one with
The
the
It Ends With
previous one,
Us it hit just the
a hit.
right
Yeah,
moment,
yeah.
to be very successful. But even Regretting You, her
Yeah, I don't know
last
how well that
one,
one did.
it had legs, like it
It had
grew
yeah.
and did pretty well. So that is, what would you give it out of 5 for Reminders of Him?
I'd give it 3.5 stars as well.
Yeah. I do 3 or 3.5, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's
I'd go
solid for what
3.5
it's
stars
trying
because
to do.
I just think I mean, she was incredible. She had to carry all that on her
Uh,
shoulder, and it's like I was like, "I'm so glad there's no villain, like, in this
yeah.
movie," you know?
Yeah, me too. All right. So our question of the week this week is our question of the week this week is kind of going off uh, of Reminders of Him. It's what is your favorite romantic tearjerker? And it was interesting when I started looking up. I was looking at some lists and stuff, and I'm like, there's a wide
Yes,
differentiation
a
between
wide mhm.
what is considered a tearjerker because most of the ones that they had listed on these lists, I was like, what? That's a tearjerker? And I'm like, I am public waterworks. Like if I cry at stuff that I'm not even supposed to cry at. So
You gotta work it for me, too cynical.
Uh, but some I thought of Ghost. I thought of Portrait of a
Same.
Lady on Fire, A Walk to Remember, A Silent Voice, which is an anime about a girl who's bullied, a deaf girl, and how she ends up kind of confronting her bully years later. And it's a very excellent film. It's brutal. It is a tough one, but it's really good. Past Lives, I thought of that movie like wrecked me. It was brutal. I was so nervous. I'm like, don't cheat on your husband, please, please. He's so nice. Uh, and I don't really think that this is a tearjerker, but it is very well done. I did see it on a bunch of lists. In the Mood for Love, it's
Hmm,
certainly a romance
yeah,
that's not meant to be. They just
sure.
not at the right place at the right time, but it's very smoldery, very romantic. If people liked Everything Everywhere All at Once, it pays homage to In the Mood for Love quite a
Yeah,
bit. It's
it
this
does.
very, very slick, beautiful movie, so you definitely should watch it. And then I thought of Four Weddings and a Funeral, that is a very emotional film. That the speech that the one guy makes at
Yeah,
the at the gravesite is brutal.
it's
It's
brutal.
very
It
well done.
really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what about you? What did you think of?
The first one that came to my mind was Love Story
Mhm. Yeah.
because I watched that when I was very young with my sister and my mother, like, it was on TV, and it just always stuck with me, and it was like it's the first, like, cancer
Yeah.
drama movie I ever saw, where people fall in love and somebody dies of cancer, and I was a wreck, a mess. I was like, "I can't believe she died," but,
Yeah.
not understanding that was the whole point of the
I don't
movie.
even think, did they actually say it's cancer? I think it's
I
just like a
can't remember.
mysterious
It's been
illness. She's just, like, all of a sudden sick, and she's just like
I think in my mind I've always because it's been such a long time since I've seen that movie, but in my mind I always associate it to cancer. But now I'm not certain because it's been so long since I've seen it. But I just remember me as a kid,
Yeah.
a Ghost. I thought a Ghost too because I was like, how dare they
Yeah.
to Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
There's some moments in The Notebook that can get you emotional. Like when I saw that in the theater,
Yeah.
I didn't cry, but there were people around me who were sobbing.
Certainly the
You
ending with,
know?
Gina Rowlands and
Yeah. And then
and
I was like, everything else is all right. Like I could, like,
well, some of the answers that I got online, we have, Far From Heaven, we have About Time, which I don't really think of that as a
and I don't,
tearjerker, but I
yeah,
guess it has its
but I can
moment.
see it though. I mean, but not for the, yeah, I can see it.
Christina says Ghost. Jonathan Watkins, he says, does Cocoon count as a romance because Bernie having to watch his wife die destroys me? So I haven't seen that in a long time, but
Me
sure.
neither. But yeah, I mean, whatever gets you, whatever speaks
Another
to you.
person, Capsule Movie Review, says A Place in the Sun, and that is an absolutely
Oh my gosh, that's
excellent
right.
film. Yeah,
Yeah,
like, really good performances, and just it's such a good screenplay.
right.
I was very impressed by it.
Yeah, that is true. So I
Yeah.
was trying to rack my brain because then I Googled it and I was like, none of these are tear jerkers when I saw the list.
And then Mary Richards, our friend, says, my college roommate sobbed for hours after watching Somewhere in Time. So that's my vote.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, yes.
I think
I
a
do
solid
love that
choice.
movie,
Yeah.
but it is oh, yeah.
It's a very good movie. I saw at one place they had Up in there, and it's certainly, I could see that because obviously that first opening sequence is very
Oh,
moving.
it is moving.
But then, like, really, the whole movie is about him getting forgiveness from what he feels like he let Ellie down.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
he didn't give Ellie the life that she deserved, and that's like weighing on him. And when he finally sees her message in the book at the end, go and have a
Yeah,
great adventure and everything, like that is so moving because not only does it speak to their love and how much he loved him, but he can finish this forgiveness
right.
kind of process, and very sweet, very
Also
moving.
also, everybody told me like, "Oh, that opening and Up, it's gonna make you cry," and I was like, "Oh, please." And I'm watching it, and my sister and I, we watched it one time together, and we were like, "What is the rest of this movie gonna be?" We were like,
Yeah,
"No!"
yeah, yeah. It's one of my all-time
Oh, but
favorites for sure.
so real, like the
It's
one of the
so
realest
good.
moments in like a
Yeah.
Pixar movie.
I mean, I think there's a lot of animated films. I mean, you certainly got your Bambi, you certainly got your, I mean, they're not romantic tearjerkers, but
No.
they certainly know how to play on those heartstrings with
Bambi
a
has always been so emotionally hard for me because when
yeah.
I saw it as a
Oh
kid,
yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then I was like,
Brutal.
"I can't," and then
The
if
mom
anybody
dies and then we never talk about her again.
no, I
Ever.
know, and then but if anybody as a kid ever saw that short cartoon of where Godzilla kills Bambi, which I also watched very young, and I've never been the same. I can't touch
Yeah.
Bambi again, and it's all because of Godzilla and the
Yeah.
movie.
I've seen that. Another one I thought
You
of
gotta
is
Google that up. It's
Another one I
hysterical.
thought of is Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken, which is a very corny Disney movie, but it's very good. about, at least I have nostalgia for it. It's about they're evidently in the, I think, 1920s. There was this thing, horse diving. And the movie is all about this woman who is a horse diver who ends up going blind, and she ends up falling in love and all emotion and everything like that. We have another good comment here. It says, "Oh, for sure, Terry, about what you said before. It is a myth that men shouldn't like romantic, emotional movies. I watched When Harry Met Sally recently for the first time, and I loved it."
Yeah.
So, very good. Absolutely, men are human beings just like anybody
I also
else.
think I also think it's kind of like when it's the way you describe it, but when
Yeah,
certain people like, oh, this is a movie for chicks or women's film, like, yeah, we're attached to that. We do like romance stories, but
yeah,
you're also excluding, a whole other
yeah,
section of fans who like it. I mean, also because men got to be macho,
yeah.
we still got that thing, but nah,
Even
man.
even on the Hallmark side, like the fluffy rom-com side, I know a ton of
Yeah,
men who like those movies.
I know. You
So
just,
live your truth. Don't let anybody else define what you
it's
can
all
and cannot
right.
like.
Yeah, it's absolutely,
Yeah,
but I just think it's like the stereotypes that we make in society
yeah,
where like,
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's continue on. The next movie that we're going to talk about is called The Optimist, and it is a Holocaust survivor. Thinking of tearjerker, the Holocaust survivor tells his story of survival to a troubled teen. And this stars Stephen Lang as our Holocaust survivor, and then Elsie Fisher as the teenager who you might have known from 8th grade, Elsie Fisher. But yeah, I'd say that this is a more mixed experience. I
Agree.
mean, I think that everything on the Holocaust side of it is pretty well done and pretty moving. It feels somewhat generic at this
It does.
point of
Yeah.
like all the different Holocaust movies that we got over the years, and I'm not sure if those Holocaust sequences really add anything to sort of the portrayal and the story of the Holocaust. It just feels a little bit generic,
Like
but
a
it's not bad.
history lesson, right? The way he
Yeah,
name drops certain things and
and
certain
then
people, yeah.
yeah, whenever it would go back to our modern setting, it would really just let the air out of this movie, I
Yeah,
think.
I agree.
Mhm.
But
So
yeah.
if you watch it, you won't be, like, miserable. It's not awful, but I
Yeah.
think I don't know if I can recommend it, just with how just sort of generic it felt.
It did, and like it's got a good message,
Yeah,
and how people bond, like there's trauma that you can
yeah. Well, and survivor's
and
guilt.
survivor's guilt and all that stuff,
Yeah,
and it's like and it's a great story too. It's based on a true story of this
yeah,
older man who told the story, and he helped young people with their trauma and what they had to get over. So it's inspiring on that fact, based on a true story of what
yeah,
he accomplished and how he connected to people. And you see little clips of that at the end. But
yeah,
it's true. It felt like also when we were in present tense, like her story felt so dramatic, and I don't think there was quite enough
yeah,
attention to like expand on what she was feeling. I got it. But yeah, it did feel like
yeah.
kind of a little like,
It
well, this happened. It's kind of like a history lesson. I do think that this might be like if you've never watched a Holocaust movie before, or you're showing something in school, this might be a little bit easier to like watch, for if you're
yeah,
young and getting sort of learning the history or something, because it's not overly cruel, like,
yeah. I mean, it's very
or hard to
upsetting,
watch. It's
obviously,
upsetting, yeah.
but yeah, it might be a decent first introduction
Yeah.
to this topic and
Yeah.
this
That's
and
what
the
I thought
Holocaust for you.
immediately when I was watching it. I was like,
Mhm.
this might be like an easy, I could see like a school watching that,
Yeah, I can see that.
but some of the camera angles, like, why?
Yeah,
There's some shots that I was like, you really just want to look up, like,
yeah, yeah. Where like Vanessa Caswell like really elevated that material.
mhm,
The direction and production on this one, I can't say the same about
yeah.
them on there. And so let's see if I can see the director. I don't know the director, but anyway, So, Stephen Lang does a good job. Again, it's a mixed bag. I would give it 2.5 out of 5.
I same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The next movie that we're going to talk about is called Surat, and this one you didn't see,
No.
but it's about a man in Morocco. He goes to kind of a Coachella like event in the It's like a festival in the desert. It's like this rock kind of festival. He's trying to find his daughter who was there, and then they end up on this road trip. Him and his son, where lots of horrible things happen. They end up in there's all these. They end up at one point in this desert with all these landmines, and this is very depressing. I didn't really feel like I got to know the characters that well, so I do think that this movie is style over substance. It
Mm.
does have a lot of style, and you can tell that this director Oliver Lacks that he has like a unique vision and a unique point of view perspective that he brings to his films. I'd be curious to see more from him, but I would have liked to have gotten to know these characters a little bit better. For it to be as emotional as I think he wanted it to be. It's not a bad movie. Like I thought it was okay, but I didn't think it was great. It is nominated for 2 Oscars. It's nominated for international film and for sound. And the sound makes sense because you've got everything with the festival that's very like psychedelic and very crazy, and different times when different characters are on drugs, and in the way they use like the music and the way they, so I could see some creative sound usage, because it used to be that there were 2 sound Oscars, one for sound design and one for sound
Yes.
mixing, and then they combined it into both, and it's a little bit of a shame because
It is.
they really are 2 different art forms. The
Yeah.
idea of the creating unique sounds, like for instance, somebody that was sound design was like creating the sound of a lightsaber, but there is no lightsabers. We don't know how that would sound. So somebody has to create that of what they think would sound like, right? And then there's people who are doing the mixing, which is make sure that all of the different elements are all mixed together to create a compelling experience. So both of those things, and you can see more the mixing on this side. And I say this like I'm some kind of sound expert. I'm very much not, but I could see there being some impressive sound in that community, because now at the Oscars, I don't know how long this has been, the different guilds basically for the most part, I think, pick the group of nominees, and then the
Yes.
Academy votes. So like the Costume Guild picks the
Yeah.
costume nominees, and animation and documentary, all of that kind of thing. So I can see why the sound people were like, okay, this
Yeah.
is a good one. So there we go. That is Surat. I would give it 3 out of 5. I think it's interesting, but not like raving about it. All right. So next, we are going, in honor of the Academy Awards coming up on Sunday, we are going to talk about our favorite Best Picture winners. So this is going to be fun, and this is not the ones I think are the best. These are just the ones that I like the most, and definitely all of these are ones that if somebody wanted to watch them, like this weekend, if somebody's like, let's have a Oscar, these are ones that I wouldn't mind, that I wouldn't be like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
for
when
me.
it was a little tough because so many
It
came
is.
in, like, at 11 or 12 or
Yeah.
whatever when I was doing it, but I did realize that in the last couple of years, I really don't care for some of these Best Picture winners,
Yeah.
most recently, and
The
but
most
there's
recent
been
one I
mhm,
have was actually, it was 2019 film that won the Oscar in 2020 would be Parasite. That's my highest one that's recent.
yeah, but it was
So,
it's it just I was like, "Huh," and, like,
mhm.
there's no movie that I'm rooting for this year that I feel very passionate should win, like, in the
I
Best
mean,
Picture category.
yeah, I would love a sentimental value one. At least I hope it wins something. I think it's either going to be that or The Secret Agent that are going to win the international.
I think it's
But
gonna be The
but I
Secret
really
Agent,
did love
yeah.
that. But yeah, it's I think there's very little that I like hate in this year's
Right, yeah, but it's
nominee,
like I'm not
but
passionate
but
for
not
any of
much.
them.
Yeah, not much. I'm super
Yeah, which I
passionate
think
about.
Sinners is
So
probably gonna win it. I feel like Sinners is gonna be like, Everywhere All at Once, where they just swept, you
yeah, I mean,
know?
one battle after another. Oh, like it's won almost everything
Yeah, this is
going up
why I
to it.
feel like, you know.
But Sinners is definitely building momentum, so I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah.
I think that Paul Thomas Anderson is going to win for Best Director. I think that's
I
pretty
agree
much
with
a
you, like,
lock.
on that, yeah.
And
I
because
feel like it's his time, and they're gonna
yeah,
honor him.
and I think they're going to give Ryan Coogler I think they're going to give him screenplay
I
for
see, I
Sinners.
have a feeling like that, like, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's not gonna win
Mhm.
everything because it's definitely not gonna win costuming unless it's like
No,
some.
I think that
No, no.
Frankenstein is going to win
Oh,
all of those
absolutely, yeah.
production design, costume, makeup. I think that that's pretty much a lock.
Well, I don't know because Ruthie Carter, and she's won twice before, and this
Yeah,
is like her 6th or
but
7th nomination.
who
So we could see a surprise, but I think
it's
Frankenstein is
possible.
winning it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Well, anyway, let us know what you think. But here are my top 10 of the Best Picture winners. I have not seen all of them. There's probably 20 that I haven't seen, so I need to get on that. But number 10, I have On the Waterfront. Number 9, I have Slumdog Millionaire. I've seen that on a lot of worst lists. I vehemently disagree. I love that film. 8, I have The Best Years of Our Lives. It's quite possibly,
Oh,
and I'm not super tied to
good.
this order, but
It
it's one of the finest films
it is
ever made.
so good. Talk about a tearjerker
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah.
It is
It
just so good.
it's so good. And if you haven't seen The Best Years of Our Lives, definitely make that a priority. It's excellent.
It's
Number 7, I have Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I mean, it's really the three together.
yeah,
I'm not a high fantasy person usually, but those just I thought worked and just set the bar for that kind of
for
filmmaking.
sure.
6, I have Lawrence of Arabia, one of the greatest spectacle movies ever made.
Mhm.
Incredible. And like an underrated as far as like Lawrence is such a fascinating character. Like
I
what
know.
happens to him and Peter O'Toole's so great in if it hadn't come out the same year as To Kill a Mockingbird, like
Oh,
that was
I
bad
know.
luck. That was bad luck. Because I certainly would have won score and I certainly would have won acting if it wasn't for Kill a Mockingbird, which is
Yeah.
also
I
one of the
can't
finest
yeah,
films ever
I
made.
know. I can't wait till my niece sees that because they're gonna
Yeah.
watch the movie, but they're currently reading To Kill a Mockingbird, and I
Oh,
was like, "When you watch that movie, come talk to me."
yeah, yeah. 5, I have Amadeus. 4,
Mhm.
I have
Oh, yeah.
Parasite. 3, I have The Sound of Music. I absolutely love that film. I watched it on repeat growing up. 2, I have It Happened One Night. Maybe a perfect film.
Yeah, that's a great
Is
list, Rachel.
it's so good. And the number 1, I have All About Eve.
Oh, yeah.
I think All About Eve is the greatest screenplay in the history of Hollywood.
Absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
don't think that's even a hot take. Like it's so entertaining. It's funny. You feel for the characters and like Eve is just so you hate her by the end of that so much.
It's just
And
so
Anne Baxter,
great.
her performance is absolutely great. And talk about another shame that neither of them won the
No,
Oscar, Betty
I
Davis or
know.
Anne Baxter, because they were competing against each other,
I
and so
know. I think they
Judy
canceled each other.
Holliday ended up winning.
I mean, that's Judy Holliday is also very good in that performance that she won for.
Yeah,
But I'm like, if only,
yeah.
ooh. But
It's
I
too
mean,
bad
at
it
least
couldn't have
George
been.
Sanders won.
Yeah,
Um,
it's that's true, and he's great. He
he's
totally
great. He's
deserved
great.
that.
There's Marilyn Monroe in them. I love all of them.
Yeah, Marilyn
It
Monroe.
is so like a
It's
very early Marilyn Monroe appearance.
it's
It is such
also
a
one
good.
of the finest films ever made.
Yeah, and do you know some of the stories that of when they made that movie? Like Celeste Holmes, like I'm a
Oh yeah.
tangent here, but like
Oh no.
I saw like before she died, she even did like a yeah, she's passed away. But like a video, like she's still so offended by this remark that Benny Davis made to her, like all those years
Oh.
later, and I'm like, oh,
Well,
and it's so great.
what's your 10? What did you come up
So my number 10 is Rocky. Uh,
with? Yeah,
I
that
love
was
that
on my
movie.
short list.
Yeah, number 9 is Terms of Endearment.
Mhm.
8 is Schindler's List, and this is Steven Spielberg's
Sure, sure.
Greatest film ever. Number 7 is From Here to Eternity.
Yeah.
Number 6 is Mrs. Miniver. My
Mm-hmm.
5 is The Godfather. My number 4 is All About Eve. My number 3 is Casablanca. Number 2 is The Sound of Music. And my number 1 has to be Gone with the Wind. I love that movie.
Okay.
I love
Yeah.
that book. And I don't care what anybody says.
Good. Well, let us know if you're listening what your top 10 would be. We'd like to hear what you think of our list. That would be a lot of fun. So this show is brought to you by Fat Cat Cinemas in Bluffdale, Clinton, and Saratoga Springs. Some of the food you can have brought to your seat are burgers, jalapeno poppers, loaded fries, pizza. Most recently, I had the sliders meal, and it was really good. It had caramelized onions and they were very tasty, and they're made fresh from scratch. So this isn't like some of the other chains around here where everything is just reheated in the microwave. This is made there on site. It's really yummy, and they also have, of course, your popcorn and your candy and your other stuff like that, and you can have all of that delivered right to your seat. So it's a great place to see a film and have a good meal at the same time. So check out Fat Cats. We really appreciate them for sponsoring this episode. All right, so we have a re-release of the week, and this is very exciting because on the IMAX for the first time, we have Kiki's Delivery Service that is being re-released. I wanted to see it, but the times were very strange. They were like 2:00 and 4:00, and I just had interviews and stuff I was doing yesterday. But I definitely want to see it and excited to see it, and so that will be cool to see it on the big screen. Of course, this film is by Hayao Miyazaki, and it's about a young girl named Kiki, who, in the world of this movie, when you're a witch at a certain age, you have to go out and sort of prove yourself and become independent. And so she ends up getting a job she's in a new city. She gets a job as a delivery girl, and she's on her broom and everything like that. But it's not about like witchcraft or anything like that. It's just basically her job, and how she learns to gain confidence with herself. And it's just a lovely movie, great art, great animation. I highly recommend, and you get a chance to see it on the big screen, I think, and on the IMAX. That's gonna be super cool. Have you ever seen this one?
No, I was I wanted to like rewatch it, but I just ran out of time. I
Yeah.
didn't have enough time because but like I need to see more of his films because I know
Yeah.
Howl's Moving Castle, but like, and that's
Yeah.
it. And people always gasp, and I know I need to remedy that. And I will
Nobody
sort
has
of
seen
like,
everything, y'all.
I know.
Nobody's seen everything.
Well, I really want to. I think I might watch this one this weekend. It's on HBO Max. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'll catch it in the theaters. I think it would be nice to see it.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, because it looks delightful.
Mhm. It's really a sweet, lovely film, and Miyazaki does such a good job of creating really coming of age stories for mostly his female characters. He has some male, like the Boy and the Heron from a few years ago, but a lot of female young girls that they're growing up, and you get to see that process. And he just has such empathy and heart, in his films. And Kiki's Delivery Service, if you are kind of turned off by the more like fantastical Miyazaki movies, like, Spirited Away or something like that, Howl's Moving Castle, if that's like a little much for you, which I understand, then Kiki's Delivery Service, even though it's technically about a witch, like I said, it's kind of just her job. Like, it really doesn't have that those elements. So if Boy and the Heron and Spirited Away, stuff like it's a little much, then I think you would like Kiki's Delivery Service. It's a nice gateway to Studio Ghibli and to Miyazaki. Even Totoro has more fantasy elements, but I think those are probably the two best ones to kind of get in and get in with the genre and the filmmaker and kind of see if it's something you like. So there we go.
What's the best way to watch those movies? Subtitled or the English dubs?
Well, the ones that were,
I've seen a lot of debate on like foreign like animation movies.
Yeah.
Where
the ones that were done by Disney in that era when John Lasseter was doing all the Ghibli dubs and they were releasing them, those are just the ultimate of dubbing. Like, it's basically perfect. You can't tell. uh, other anime is definitely more mixed experience. As far as the dubbing, especially something like Your Name, like I would really recommend seeing that in the sub because the music is an important element, and I think that I just like the music better with in the original Japanese. So,
Mhm.
but I think it's just a win to get you to watch
Yeah,
anime. So whatever gets you there, then that's what I'm a fan of.
absolutely. Yeah.
So all right. Then our last statement is our last segment is the TV movie of the week, and this is technically a series, but it's The Count of Monte Cristo, and this premieres on PBS Masterpiece on the 22nd. But if you are a PBS Passport member, you can watch the entire series right now. So that's pretty cool. And we're going to have coverage on Hallmarkies podcast. I already recorded the premiere recap with Mary, but we're going to do all of the episodes. There's 8 episodes. So episode 1, it starts with Edmond Dantes being falsely imprisoned for treason and collusion with Napoleon, who is just about to start his resurgence, the 100 days of Napoleon coming back. He's then separated from his beloved Mercedes. And we know at the beginning that he's released, I think, after 16 years. And then, so going forward in the series, he's going to be out for revenge. And that's kind of your story. Sam Claflin plays Edmund. And I think this was very entertaining, very well done. I liked especially the villains were really fun. Those actors were
So good.
delivering. Yeah. They were really doing a good job. and so I'm excited to see where it goes and how it does. I do feel like compared to some of the other recent miniseries from the BBC or over at on PBS Masterpiece, it felt a little cheap to me as far as the costuming, the just some of the filmmaking. It just wasn't quite at the same level. Like they kept showing advertisements for this Forsyths that's coming, and that looked way more expensive and lush.
It does, and I have no desire to see that. And it's hysterical because I have read all the Forsyth novels. There's more than one. Yeah, I've seen all the adaptations, even the film with Errol Flynn, who played Soames, and like
I don't think I've seen. I think that's one that I haven't seen.
It resembles nothing of the novels. It resembled nothing of the book, but like I've seen all of the other miniseries and I love them. And I look at this one and I'm like, which is so weird.
It just looked more expensive.
That one looks a little bit more lavish because they're rich.
Yeah.
Well, this guy's rich too now, but
yeah, I liked it. I was entertained. I thought the acting was pretty good. Like I said, especially those villains were good. And I thought that Sam Claflin makes like a pretty appealing leading guy. He was good.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good in it, and he carries it. And like from what I've seen so far, it seems from my memory pretty like on par with the book. Like with what happens so far, I think they're doing something different with Mercedes. So I haven't seen the end, but I'm like, I think I've only seen the 4 out of 8. But I think I was like, ooh.
So you watched more. I've only watched the premiere because when I'm recapping something, I want it to be as fresh. So I wait and watch it till right before recap.
Okay.
But that's good to hear that it holds up. And I have never been able to get through this book. It's one of those 19th century novels that
it's a struggle because it's like each revenge take that he takes could be its own novel. And I think that that might,
it's like
it takes time.
It's like Les Miserables. I just there's only so much I can read about the Paris sewers. Like it's just too much.
Yeah, I feel that way about War and Peace.
Yeah. I've never been able to get through that either.
I don't even like, I was like, I can't with Yuri. I can't with any of this. War and Peace is very hard for me. And then I get annoyed even when I watch the adaptations of it too.
Yeah.
But it's like a book I can't get through. But I love the scenery because it's definitely filmed in Malta. I'm pretty sure because it looks like Malta.
So I would give this I'd give it a 3, but I entertain. I definitely want to watch more.
Yeah, I would probably give it a 3 because I'm like, I hope it doesn't end the way that I think it's going to end with like sort of Mercedes, because they introduced a character and I'm like, you're not going to do anything with that character when that character is important and thus far.
Yeah.
And, I don't want them to make it too romancy, but still, I'm enjoying it. It's very good to me.
And like I said, we'll have the recap on Hallmarkies podcast coming up after it airs, obviously on the 22nd. So let us know what you think. And we have one last comment. Kiki is the sweetest. I agree with everything you said about it. I rewatched it last year with my siblings and then read the book for the first time, which is also very good. That's cool. I haven't read the book, but that's good to hear. So there we go. That is everything from this week as far as what has been released. There was a movie called Slanted that I tried very hard to get a screener for, and also the times yesterday just didn't work with everything else I had going on, so I didn't see it. So that's gotten pretty good reviews. It says Asian teenager Joan Hong dreams of being prom queen, but fears the only way to win is to look like all the past queens whose portraits line her high school halls. Then she hears about Ethnos, a cosmetic surgery clinic that turns people of color white. Joan undergoes the procedure and wakes up a beautiful blonde who's destined for the crown, but at what cost? So it sounds kind of like shoot, now I just lost it. Demi Moore. Can think of the name all of a sudden. Anyway.
Yeah. Gosh, now I can't remember that one either.
Yeah. But anyway, it sounds like it's going to be intense, and there you go. Check that out if you want to see that. So that's everything. Let us know what you think about all the different things that we're talking about. Please share this with your friends. Spread the love of the show. It would really mean a lot to me. I'm going to have it uploaded in the audio versions, both on Hallmarkies podcast and on Rachel's Reviews. So make sure that you like, subscribe, follow everything. It would mean a lot to me. And Terry, where can people follow you?
I'm at Twitter, X, whatever you call it, at Flurry Heaven.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also make sure you follow the Hallmarkies podcast all over the place. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews for both podcasts. That would mean a lot. And that's the biggest free way that you can help the podcast and help me with what I'm doing. So please leave your reviews. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that. And the super chats and the other things like that, we really appreciate. So please continue to do that. We have our Patreon group, which is a ton of fun. You can be part of cool experiences. Like this month, we have Camry Bigley Fox, who was the lead actress, director, writer, everything for that Sense and Sensibility and Modern Retelling that you saw, Terry.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's going to come and we're going to talk to her. We're going to watch the movie together. And I think it's going to be super cool to find out like how she made this movie with her family and the project. So that's cool experiences that you get for being a patron. And also we have all the episodes ad free, which is nice. So check out the Patreon. And then we have the merch store where we have tons of fun movie inspired designs that you should take a look at. And thanks so much, Terry, for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for asking me.
And we'll talk to y'all later. Happy movies.
All right. Bye.